Hit record, the red light's on. Shit out of the way. I got my phone off. And it's gonna say, hey, this is the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I always start off with a stupid date. And today is February 2nd, 2019, Groundhog Day. I'm sitting here today with a special guest. This is Kyle Hardee. Say hi, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Kyle is are you the owner and proprietor of... Co-owner?
And co-proprietor.
Okay. Of one of my favorite places to eat in town. I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about it a lot. King Jefe Taco, which is downtown Florence. And
we might have to be changing the name soon.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Lawson, you'd be surprised.
Really?
The scum just come out of the trash barrels, the trash heaps.
Man.
Filed for an application for our trademark and stuff like that, and next thing you know, some mean people from California send us cease and desist letters and
because they just happen to have the same name.
Well, they have their name is King Taco, and it's like this fat guy with a meat cleaver. However, they have been using the name King in their trademark from the 80s. So they own King. They own King in relation to anything Mexican. And in order to fight it, I need about $50,000. So if y'all like to start a GoFundMe page to save King Jefe, it'd be like Save the Max, Saved by the Bell.
Hey, we could probably do a GoFundMe through this.
Man,
this might be a beginning.
I'll just paint over King and throw a crown in there or something. We'll make it work.
I was curious. Like my wife was like, make notes because you're gonna forget to ask the questions you've been meaning to ask. I was curious. Like, I know you started off. Y'all had Tubbs on Second Loop Road.
Yes, sir.
Was that your first restaurant?
Yeah, Tubbs was the first. Tubbs actually started out as a roadside seafood stand on Saturdays with no real intention of becoming a restaurant. It was just me and Steve sitting by the side of the road, peddling shrimp and scallops and stuff.
Cool. Yeah, I've been there to eat a couple times, and I used to go there when it was a convenience store. A buddy of mine lived around the corner back when we were kids. We used to ride bicycles over
Turner's
there.
Open Air Market.
Yeah, we'd ride bicycles over there, and we'd get candy. And
everybody comes in there. Oh, I remember you had dirt floors and buy nickel candy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey,
it wasn't dirt floor when I was there, but I do remember going there quite often because he lived right down the road. I mean, just less than a mile down the road, and we used to run up and down the roads as kids, way more than we should have. You think about that kind of stuff today in 2019, you're going, I don't know if I trust my kids out there. It's a little crazy. I mean, we used to get away with a lot just because, parents were just like, just get out of my face, go away, go play outside.
I was raised out in the woods, man. That's it.
We'd get in more trouble for not coming home when it was dark and be like, oh crap, it is too dark, I gotta get home.
Yeah, no.
You finally come home, they're like, where have you been? And you're like,
it's a different time now, though.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So you run Tubbs for a while, and at some point you just go, I want to open another place. Is that kind of how that came about?
Well, I mean, so I'm very fortunate to have two of the best business partners in the world. I mean, you could give me, you could put Steve and Travis on one side of the table and put like Marcus Lamont or the Prophet and the Bar Rescue guy on the other, and I'm sticking with my dudes, man. I mean, they are brilliant. Their assets pick up on my deficits and vice versa. They hate being on camera. They hate, they're not good at it. Steve especially just gets really awkward and clammy, and I mean, he just hates it. But that's not his thing. His thing is the vision and the food. And we kind of share those passions. So it's the three of us, and we started out with Tubbs, and then we said, hey, it's not just seafood that we're enamored with. It's service, it's hospitality, it's business, and so that allows us to grow and to be able to do tacos and be able to do, the new Revival Burger spot, and it could be anything. It doesn't matter. The food is just, that's just the art we're creating. But man, we can paint on any kind of canvas. I feel like successfully,
yeah. I know one of the first things I noticed when I walked in the restaurant is I thought, wow, I like the way this place looks. Like the giant mural on the wall of the rooster in the back, and the King Jefe painted on the side, and then the special paintings you got on the wall. And I thought, wow, this is really decorated nice. And then, looking at the menu, some of the names that are on the menu, I'm like, well, that's pretty creative, man. It's pretty funny, And there's lots of little play on words type stuff. And I actually used my little thing here to take a picture of your menu because I wanted to look at it. I noticed like on your taco stuff, you got all kind of neat names, you know, like the Cheech and the Chong and the Gringo and Slowpoke Rodriguez, El Pastor Bob. Did y'all just come up with these names together? Or y'all just kind of ballparking it going, what do we call this?
So you'd be surprised, like, well, I don't know if you'd be surprised, but I think the general public would be surprised as to, you know, where a lot of these names come from, and the fact that, you know, Al Pastor Bob. Well, that's local Florence celebrity Pastor Bob. You know, I mean, that's just like a guy that ate with us all the time. We're like, hey man, let's name a taco after this dude. And,
cool.
The Dehan was actually the bad guy in, I think it's Bloodsport.
Okay.
Right. He was the evil guy in Bloodsport. But we just get inspiration from all over the place, and I think we're really like inspired by. You know, not just pop culture, but pop culture stuff from our time and what we like, and maybe what we like is representative of what the masses like. Hell, who knows? But as far as designing these restaurants and the way they look, feel, and function, I mean, it's all us. That is me, Steve, and Travis, and especially King Jefe. I think more specifically, there's a certain ambiance and certain feel that place has that. I mean, you could probably pay restaurant consultants to come in and try to create, and they might not be able to recreate it. You know, yeah. I think we really hit on something special with the decor and the lighting and just the way we wanted it to feel. But we traveled around and ate a lot of tacos to say, hey, we like the way this feels, and we could do without this, and it's fun. It's probably one of my most favorite parts about all of this opening restaurants. Is the design and conceptualizing these things. It's really neat. I mean, I picked with Steve. I say he has a dream journal, right? But if you go look at these prophetic things he's written, you know, going back to like 2010, he's like, I want to own a taco business. You know what I'm saying? It's nuts. It's crazy when you start looking at the things that he's written down and the way they've come to fruition. You know, as a result of our hard work and the community support. But you know, opening these things up it's fun. There's definitely a science to it. We're not clued into the science of it. We're just clued into the feel of it and how, you know, what we enjoy, and I think that's the awesome part of it.
I know when I tell people often that I go there to eat tacos, they go, "You're eating tacos?" I was like, "No, you don't understand. These are like gourmet tacos. It doesn't take a lot to fill you up. They look beautiful. They taste great. You know, the ambiance of the place is always fun. There's always some fun music going on, some funky kind of stuff. And, you know, the staff that you got working there is all pretty laid back and casual but friendly. And, you know, they from the top to the bottom, you can tell, like walking in the door, that everybody knows what they're doing and they're all there for pretty much the same reason. And it's, hey, let's have a good time while we're here at work and let's help people. And, you know, people are here to eat. Let's give them good food and good service and see how it goes. And, you know, that I work in the food industry, you know, obviously on the delivery part of it, but, you know, I talk to my guys often about, you know, these are your customers. Treat your customers well and they'll keep coming back. And it's the same, you know, on your end, because you're, you know, teaching these guys, hey, listen, you know, people coming in the door have a choice of where they spend their money. Let's make them their choice.
You're right. Absolutely.
You know, so, you know, I want to commend you guys, you know, all three of you for doing that, and everybody that you got working there. You know, it's one of the places where I want to bring people when I come to town. You know, when they come to town to visit, I'm like, hey, we got to go here.
It is, and I'm not just saying this because I own the darn place. It's my favorite restaurant in Florence. It's my favorite restaurant to eat at between my three restaurants. Yeah. You know, on days off when, you know, most business owners wouldn't be caught dead in their own business on their day off. I load up the kids and my wife and we go to King Jefe and we eat. And it's not only because I already bought the food once, so damn it, I ain't buying food again kind of deal. But right. It's, you know, I enjoy the atmosphere. I enjoy the food. I enjoy the drinks. I just think it's awesome. I love it. You know. Yeah.
You probably know my wife, my mom and I go in there pretty much every Wednesday whenever she's got time, or whenever I have time. I have to work some Wednesdays, but. You know, it's our go-to, and I'll bug my wife about it because on the weekends she'd be like, let's go out. I'm like, we can go to Keto. She's like, why? Why do we always have to? I was like, listen, you asked me. It's that whole question of, hey, baby, what do you want to eat? And like, I don't eat there.
She really doesn't care where you want. You know that, right?
No, she really doesn't. She probably already has in her brain what she wants, but she just don't want to say it.
Absolutely.
So, but every now and then she'd be like, all right, let's go. It's been a while. And then we'll eat. And she's like, why don't we eat here more often? And I'm like, woman. Really?
We're going to have this here 5 times today.
Yeah, I'm like, geez, you know, you go get along in the program here. But, you know, I remember she had brought her sister to town, and we went out. I guess it was right after you guys had changed some of the drink stuff. and Game of Thrones had just come out with the Hodor episode, and you had the Hodor on the recipe and on the list, and I was like, ooh, I want the Hodor, and I think I had 2 of them. And by the end of it, I was talking like Hodor. I was like, Hodor! I'm sure. And they were like, we gotta get you home. I was like, for those who don't know, the Hodor is a margarita with a Corona floater.
It's a big ass margarita.
It's a big ass margarita with a Corona floater. And by the end of it, all you want to do is hold the door.
That's it. Yeah.
It's pretty fantastic. But yeah, I mean, obviously, there was another one, the Red Wedding, I think was on the list also. And you can see a lot of the influences and the fact that you guys are changing it up often and adding things. To me, it sort of adds something, especially to a small town like Florence. Florence is growing. I think the 2016 census said that we had like 39,000 people. Mm. And I think in 3 years, we've probably doubled that. I mean, the way our town has grown with the industry brought in from Otis Elevator and from some of these others that are, moving to the area, it's definitely leaps and bounds grown in this town.
So I'm not originally from here. I'm from Bennettsville, right? About 40, 45 minutes down the road. And growing up, I'll never forget. You come to Florence when you need something. Yeah. If you want to watch a movie, if you want to go to the movies, you got to come to Florence. Growing up, me and my 2 best friends, Cuddy Smith and Matt Moore, rest in peace. Matt was a little chubby, so was I. So his mom would bring us over to Belt, go get husky britches, because you can't find no husky britches nowhere else. You had to come to Florence to get big boy britches. So, but I mean, and Florence is growing, and Florence is a great community, and I think that Florence was ready. I think that Florence was ready for King Jefe and something different. There's 20 Mexican restaurants in Florence, I bet, and every one of them, I feel like, serves the same stuff.
Pretty much.
And we wanted to change it up, and we knew downtown was on the come up, man. I think our local government, Mayor Wu Keelan, these guys have really invested a lot into the revitalization of downtown Florence, and we saw that happen, and we knew that we could get in there on the right time, and it would work out, and it has, and the taste of people in Florence, they were ready for something different. We had a horrible, I think, Facebook review this lady left us on at King Jefe the other day, and she just goes off, and apparently she's lived in some kind of Mexican Caribbean destination for a couple of years, and she just blasted us saying that our chefs were not from the Yucatan, and who the hell cares about that stuff? And I'm so used to that, man. I could I don't even think twice about it. However, what really infuriated me about this was she just started ripping on Florence, and talking about these, narrow-minded, and they know nothing, and they don't get experienced cultures. That lady, I mean, that's what pissed me off the most about it. Florence has given me everything I have, man. I mean, this community has supported me and held me up, and it's allowed me to grow and raise a family and stuff like that, man. And I'll try to put out the best and most exciting food and the most creative, bar menu and the best service that we could possibly offer, because I think I owe it to the community. The people of Florence deserve, something different and special and unique. And I hopefully that's what we're bringing to the table.
One of the fun things I like is that, I think it looks like almost every weekend y'all come up with a new creation of, hey, come out this Friday and try this. We'll give you a shot. And I'm like, hey, why don't we go out? I was like, no, we're not.
You got to stay relevant, though. You know what I'm saying? And that's and for, let me backtrack a little bit. I can attribute tons of this success to our staff and the team that we have around us. So there's the 3 of us, Steve, Travis, and myself. But then, the next level of management, we have our director of operations, Buzz Fleming, and he has, decades and decades of restaurant experience, like corporate restaurant experience, leading, hundreds of people and managing payroll and labor costs and food and stuff. And we brought him into the mix, shortly after Jefe was open, and he has really changed our focus on some things and allowed us to grow. And then, our bar manager, Paul, who came up with all the drink names, he did all those. I can't take any credit for those. But this dude's up like juicing limes at 4 o'clock in the morning just to get shit done, and he doesn't stop, and he's creative, and our servers, and we just have a great staff, and it's allowed us to make some changes. So recently we've changed things up, and we're not going to be working in the business as much as we're going to be working on the business now, right? We've promoted 3 general managers. Each general manager has a restaurant. Tubbs, we put Tubbs in the loving hands of JJ, this girl I grew up with, who's awesome and who cares more about the customer experience than anybody I've seen. We got promoted our kitchen manager from Jefe, Jess, to the new GM spot, and then with Revival Burger, we have our guy Jordan over there, and so so what we're doing is we're teaching these people how to lead and to grow and to learn business. Jordan started as a dishwasher for us 2 years ago.
Cool.
Now he's GMing his own restaurant. You know, we give these people authority to make decisions. We give them training, and I feel like we put them in a position to be successful. And then that allows me, Steve, and Travis to grow the business, to work on the actual business, and to improve the customer experience. And we're rebooting our blog. You know, I don't know if you saw Peel and Eat TV, right?
Yeah.
So we're rebooting that, and we're going to start doing, you know, the day-to-day, what do we actually do, you know? I think one of the curses to our success is we make it seem, it looks easy, right? It really, the restaurant industry kind of looks easy when you look, oh, these guys just laugh and kind of jovial, and they get right around and record cool videos and all this shit, and but they don't see me, you know, changing toilet flanges at 2 o'clock in the morning, or, you know, oh, your grease interceptor's backed up, and then I mean, you just don't, the stuff that we really have to do on a daily basis. So we're going to kind of introduce a new vlog and show the behind the scenes of what it's actually like making tough decisions and working on the business.
I saw you advertise the vlog on Facebook. Are you going to do a YouTube part of it, or are you?
So yeah, and that's what I want to get with you, because I've seen, you know, you have what, 3,100 YouTube subscribers right now.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate every one of you.
I want to know how to get in on that, and that's, you know, Steve a lot's driving us to that. He's like, man, you know, if you get to a certain level, YouTube sends you checks.
Yeah.
Well, you know, hope one day, but really it's more about promoting the brand and promoting what we're doing.
It is. And you know, and nowadays there's no ticket takers. There's nobody saying you can't do anything. And literally, social media can be created by the people, for the people, other people, and you can do anything. I mean, what was it? Chance the Rapper came out a couple years ago and did all of his own music on a GarageBand app, and then self-produced himself, did YouTube videos himself. And everyone's going, this guy can't do it. And then he ended up winning like the #1 artist of the year a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, I love him. No,
and all of a sudden everybody's like, holy crap, you can do all this yourself. And he was like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
And I mean, the same is true with anything. I mean, we've seen, you know, just recently our own folks that we follow on YouTube blow up and get super famous. And it's through nothing other than their own effort and their own passion and their own ability. And nowadays, you can literally go on YouTube and learn how to do anything.
Yeah.
You can learn how to cook anything. You can learn how to make anything. I've even shown videos on here about how to do all of this. And well, this looks like a lot. It's really not. I mean, it's just simple. You know, watching a video, going, oh, I could buy that little piece of equipment.
So my partner Steve is apparently he gets really deep into things, and his new thing is he's going to build his own home, right? Just from watching YouTube videos.
Oh, cool.
And include its own like geothermal flooring maybe. And I mean, and I say this kind of tongue in cheek, but he's probably not going to do it. But as of today, his ass is, you know, he's going to build a house, and it's solely because he watched how to do it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I love that about him, man. He's very passionate. He gets deep into things. He gets deep into YouTube, but.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I mean, anything I can help you do, I'd love to help you do. I mean, because I believe in helping people succeed and teaching each other and sharing community, you know, and we only get better by helping each other in this community.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
And especially coming from a small town like Florence, no one is ever going to be like, oh my God, they get started off in Florence. You never know. Maybe one day. I mean, it all starts somewhere, right?
Absolutely.
So, what did I write here? I want to talk about your newest restaurant, Revival. I haven't been there yet. Sorry.
That's unfortunate.
I suck.
No. It's quite all right. You've been too busy eating tacos.
Yeah, well, you know, between my obsession with this pellet grill thing that I bought this past year and you know, working and doing keto here, really the only place I eat out is the King Jefe. You know, man.
So so when I first opened Tubbs, I heard you say keto, and it kind of made me change focus. When I first opened Tubbs, I was 333 pounds.
Wow.
As big as a damn house. I couldn't tie my shoes. And as a matter of fact, I had so the year we opened Tubbs, that week, the week of Christmas that year, my wife was in Anderson with her family, and I was still working at Monster.com, and I was, you know, woke up in the middle of the night and I couldn't breathe, and my chest, I felt like the elephant was sitting on my chest. If I could just pop my sternum, I just wanted to pop my sternum and release all this pressure on me. So I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I get up and I go to work, and this girl at work was like, "Oh my God, are you like you're dying? Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll be all right." I couldn't breathe, in pain. So I went another 3 days like this, right? And drove myself to Anderson to be with my family for Christmas. And my wife saw me. She's like, I'm taking you to the hospital. I was like, no, it's Christmas Eve. Absolutely not. Christmas Day, I'll let her take me. And I'm a real hairy guy. I just did my DNA test. I had like 241 Neanderthal traits. But so the nurses are laughing and they're shaving little patches of hair out of my chest, and they're like, "Oh, you like a jack-o'-lantern?" And throw these electrodes on there or whatever the hell they are. And doctor comes in and looks at me and says, "Mr. Hardee, you're having a massive heart attack. I need you to relax." And then I lose it, right? So, but I'm 333 pounds at the time, and I'm thinking, heart attack. I've been like this for 4 days. There is no way. So I start cussing them out. I'm not having a heart attack. You dumb. I lose it, and they go, code blue, myocardial infarction, and strap me down and start racing me back. Next thing I know, I had 8 people on me. They're taking my clothes off, giving me nitroglycerin, and my wife's in the corner of the room, and I'm looking at her, I'm going, I'm not having a heart attack. I'm fine. And then they brought in this little priest, right? He was like 4'3". I guess I'm assuming he was from the Philippines. He looked very Filipino, and he started reading me my last rites.
Oh crap! And
so I go, I'm dying. Like I'm having a heart attack. I'm having a heart attack, right? So I start going. Then it turns into I'm a very dramatic person. So then it turns into what was the Sanford and Son? Oh, I'm coming to see you. And I start saying, I'm coming home. And I had relegated myself to death. And I was like, I'm gone, man. And they get me upstairs, and they did like a radioulograph, and they found that my heart was beautiful. I remember him saying, I was looking up at him, he's like, you got a horse heart, son. You have a beautiful heart. And it turns out I had a pericarditis. So there's a sac around your heart, and I had been sick the week before with a virus and didn't do nothing about it because I don't go to doctors. And the virus had attacked the sac around my heart, and it had squeezed down and mimicked a heart attack. Mm-hmm. So long story short, I realized that I was a fat ass, and then it was going to kill me. And so I started doing keto and started doing low carb. And, since I lost, in the first year and a half, I lost about 70 pounds, 80 pounds. And since then, I realized that I feel better when I eat keto and low carb. Like we went to Schuler's last night for my grandfather's 93rd birthday, and that's his jam. That's where he wanted to go. And I ate macaroni and cheese, and I ate all this stuff. And I'm sitting here driving home like, you fat tub. How
all
miserable.
Stuff you told yourself you weren't.
Oh my God. Well, I knew I was going to do it. That's one of those things, like I knew I was stepping in the den with the devil. And I knew I was going to eat like that. And so driving home, I'm like holding my eyes open, trying to get home down the interstate. And then they wreck my carbohydrates and sugar wreck my body.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling everybody that they need that, but for me personally, I have tons of energy, and I feel good when I eat like that. So let's transition this back to Revival Burger. I know that's kind of where we're going, and I get off on tangents. I apologize. Fine. You can ask my wife; she hates that.
Hey, I'm here for the story.
So Revival Burger, we do like lettuce wrap,
yeah,
and no bun and stuff like that. And that's what I eat because I love burgers. I love hamburgers.
Oh, yeah.
I am not. You'll never see me like eating tofu and stuff like that. So. Man, we do a lettuce wrap burger, and that's what I had yesterday for lunch, and it was awesome. And I wasn't like, oh, this isn't a real burger because there's no bread. I was like, oh, holy hell, I'm glad I can have a real burger.
Yeah.
So Revival Burger's cool, man. It's we're using fresh ground meat, and it's never frozen. We're doing almost like smashing them on the flat top, getting a good crust on the outside, and we're finding our groove. Initially, when we first opened, I think we sold 2,400 burgers in the first 3 days of operation. So needless to say that the service was not where I wanted it to be, and the food was not where I wanted it to be, and it's hard, and you can't really make adjustments or get better when you're doing that much volume. Yeah. At that point, it's just like everybody bail water kind of deal, right? Yeah. But now that the business has became to a steady rate where we can focus on the food and the service, I don't think there's a better burger in Florence now that we're hitting our stride. I really don't.
Well, good. Now I can check it out.
Yeah.
I'll let all the bugs, work out of it and then come over there.
Yeah.
The thing about when Tubbs opened up, I heard a lot of people talking about, oh, you gotta come check out Tubbs, you gotta come check it out. And I was like, okay. But being on Second Loop Road and I'm way over here, I'm like, yeah, I'll get there eventually.
It's not that far.
We had a Saturday where, for us, we raised 3 boys and it was just always hurdling them back and forth to school, and they went to 3 different schools, and it was just like, oh, we gotta, we're always on the go with work, and getting them back and forth to practices and whatnot. And then, you know, when we finally even get the chance, it'd be like a Saturday, just me and the wife. We're like, let's go check it out. So we'd go over there and check it out. And it was great. And I was like, I wish we lived closer. I mean, this is just a really far way to drive over here. And you know, but it was one of those. We had kind of gotten into eating more at the house, and you know, trying to save money that way, and so eating out was like a luxury that we reserved for just me and my wife. And you know, when the kids were here, it was like, no, let's just feed, like you said, bail and water. Let's just feed you as much as we can, as quickly as we can. So it was, you know, a lot of like pieced together meals of like chicken and rice and something in noodles. And so the carb thing really caught on to us. And, you know, we both got really heavy during that time. And, you know, this past May, I think I topped out at like 260. And I was like you said, I couldn't tie my shoes. I was out of breath. I felt horrible. I felt that same pain like you were talking about. You feel like your sternum needs to pop. Mm-hmm. You're like, I just feel like this weird cramp in my sternum. And you kind of push on it and make a popping noise. And you're like, oh, that's better. And you're like, why do I feel like that? Oh, because I'm fat. That's why I feel like that. You know, it's like, oh yeah, when you lose the weight, you no longer have that problem. But it was literally your chest, you know, struggling to keep all the contents inside because you were pushing your organs out.
Absolutely.
And you know, we finally, I watched my brother lose a ton of weight on this diet, and I was like, okay, you have my attention. Whatever it is you're doing, talk to me. And he was like, you know, I was visiting for the weekend. He goes, you just want to eat what I eat? And I was like, yeah. But, you know, all I got to do is eat what you eat. He goes, yeah. So we ate ribeyes and, you know, eggs and bacon and cheese. And
hold on. So you mean to tell me you can eat ribeyes and eggs and bacon and call that a diet?
I like this. Whatever we're doing. He was like, yeah. He goes, I was like, what about beer? He goes, no beer. I was like, all right, fuck you. I'm out.
There are ways around that.
I was almost ready to bail on it when he said no beer. I was like, no, I can't. No. And he goes, listen, I'm telling you, there's workarounds. And I was like, okay. But, you know, there was a time where, you know, I guess I was telling myself I was socially drinking, but, you know, I would save like a 12-pack of beer for the weekend and sitting here at the house, you know, on the back porch cooking or something, I'd have a few beers, watch some TV, you know, and between Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I'd have about a 12-pack of beer on the weekend. And all of it was heavy carb. So, you know, it didn't take a lot with me just hanging out, not doing much, and drinking beer and eating really crappy food that the weight did add on. So I was like, fine, I'll try your stupid keto diet and we'll see what happens. And it worked.
Yeah, it does.
And I found myself going out and going, you know, I wish I could have some beer here, but what if I don't? What if I just drink some water and I eat the healthy meal and I'll feel better later and it won't feel like crap? And it became more of a choice of just the healthier lifestyle than that, you know, need for the casual beer to hang out with my buddies. Saying that, I'll also say this. I spent a weekend, like an extended weekend, hanging out with friends at the beach, and I bought a 12-pack of beer, and over the course of 5 days, I drank a 12-pack of beer. Probably not still the keto plan, but I was like, you gotta live your life some. Yeah. You gotta, you know, indulge a little bit once in a while, and I allowed myself that, and I don't think I've had but one beer since June.
That's unfortunate.
And this coming weekend, matter of fact, this Thursday, one of my best friends is coming to town, and he's going to spend the night with me, and then we're going to see Bert Kreischer in Charlotte. I bought 2 front row tickets.
You're kidding me.
To see Bert Kreischer in concert in Charlotte at the Night Auditorium. I bought them with the intention of taking my brother, and because he and I went to see him last year at the Comedy Zone. Well, Bert has just blown up. I mean, his Netflix special Secret Time has come out.
Oh, it's how funny!
Everybody's watching it, and I mean, he hit a home run with it. I mean, it really caught on at the right time, and everybody who's fans of Bert loves to help him out and promote him. Hey, let me reset my camera because I'm right about 30 minutes. This camera.
Have we ain't been talking for 30 minutes, have we?
Yeah. I just hit the button twice, and then it starts over. It's not a big deal. But yeah, I mean, everybody who watches his stuff kind of wants to help him succeed because they're like, man, I love what you do. I want to keep seeing what you do, and I want to get you out there and have more of you doing that kind of stuff. And so it increased like crazy, and he's on tour right now doing the Body Shots tour, and he's got a bus that he's renting, and it's like wrapped with a picture of his belly on it, and it's a whole funny thing that they're doing, and tickets went on sale, and I think my wife and I were actually on our way to Disney. And she was like, hey, tickets went on sale. And I was like, my first thought was, how do you know that? Because I know that, but how do you know that? Turns out she was listening to his wife, Leanne, has a podcast called Wife of the Party. she was listening to her, and they did an intro together, and he was talking about the tour, and she started listening to Leanne, and she was like, this is your thing. Do you want to go? And I was like, yeah, I want to go. She goes, do you think your brother wants to go? And I was like, I don't know. I tried calling him. I couldn't get him because he coaches basketball and he was busy. And I said, well, listen, I'm going to buy 2 tickets either way. Even if he don't go, I'll take somebody else. And she was like, okay. So she looked online just to see what the ticket prices would be. And most of the tickets were like $34, but down in the front 2 rows, it was $150 for a ticket.
Worth it.
And I was like, I want 2. And she was like, I don't have a problem with that. She goes, Disney's my thing, Bert's your thing. If you want to spend money and go see Bert front center row, I'm okay with that.
That's awesome.
So we picked out 2 tickets. We bought them on the phone while we're driving down to Disney, and I was like, I got 2 tickets. And my brother calls me back on the trip, and he's like, hey, bud, what's up? I said, hey, how do you like to see Bert on February 8th in Charlotte? And he was like, I'm going to be busy. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I'm coaching basketball, man. We're really doing good. I think I'm going to get playoffs. So, Alex, if you're listening to this, I hope you're doing well. I just saw the other night that you beat the next ranked team. You're 7th in the state right now.
Where's the coach?
Up at Blue Ridge High School in Greer.
Okay.
They had a tournament. I want to say it was a tournament. They were 10th ranked, and they beat the number 1 ranked team in the state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
All right.
He's turned that program around big time.
Awesome.
When he took that job over, they only had 3 wins the previous season, and he was like, I think we have a lot of talent.
Nowhere to go but up.
He said they just weren't coached well. He said, there's a lot of talent on this team, and I got some real leaders on this team. He said, I think I can do something here. But even with him with that job, he was talking about how they interviewed him, and he said, I want to teach him how to play basketball, and I want to teach him how to compete, and I will make the program better just by being here. He said, but more than that, I want to teach them how to live life, and I want to teach them how to be leaders, and how to understand that their schoolwork comes first, and sometimes you help out your community more than just playing basketball. And he said, to me, basketball is second. The kids, developing the kids to become adults is number 1, which is the right approach.
Absolutely.
And, when he told me that he thought he was going to be busy, I thought, well, crap, I want to steal you away so we could do this again. But at the same time, I totally get it, and I want you to do your thing. And so we had it kind of in the works of, he was like, well, I mean, if we don't win, and I won't be in the playoffs, and then I can go. And I was like, all right. So we're just standing by thinking, is he going to win? Is he not going to win? I don't know. And my wife was like, she goes, I don't want to go. She goes, I'll just be straight up with you. I don't want to go to Charlotte. I don't want to go see Bert. I mean, I get the fact that you like Bert, and I like watching the special, but I don't want to go to Charlotte to see Bert. And I was like, okay. So I got talking to my buddy Greg about it. He lives down in Albany, Georgia. And I was like, Greg, do you want to go? I mean, I've already bought the tickets, and I've bought the hotel room, and if you just come up here, we'll go from here. He's like, I'm in.
That's awesome.
So we're going to have a good time. I'm looking forward to it.
And drink a beer. And you're going to drink a beer.
I'm going to drink beer. I'm going to drink several beers probably.
Congratulations.
So
Bert's probably going to have a beer.
Bert's probably going to have something. I know he does a shot on the second show. I've listened to his podcast enough to know that he usually takes a shot right before his last story at the end of the first show, and then second show he'll bring a drink with him on stage, and he won't drink it until the last shot, and then he's like, all right, now we're drinking. And I've heard stories of him inviting the entire arena to go drinking somewhere nearby after the second show, and I'd be foolish not to say that I'm kind of hoping that happens.
Wouldn't you love to part? So I didn't know the backstory with Bert being, National Lampoon's Van Wilder, the movie, is based on Bert.
Yeah.
And Rolling Stone named him like Party Animal of the Year. In, I guess it was the mid-90s or something
98.
like that? 98.
Yeah.
So
97, 98, somewhere. I think it was like 97, 98.
I recently learned all that, and I was thinking, I love this dude before I knew it, and then I'd heard all that. I was like, I just love him even more, man. How awesome would he be to hang out and party with?
Not only that, but like I was in the Marine Corps during that time, and I was stationed in California, and I got subscription to Rolling Stone, and I remember that episode. I remember that subscription coming out. It had Beck on the cover. And I'd read the inside, and it says #1 party animal. I was thinking, what? Because every year they did the party schools.
Yeah.
And Florida State was at the top of the list a lot. And this year, as he tells the story, you realize, they were coming to interview for the school again, and everybody on campus was like, you got to hang out with Bert.
See Bert.
And this guy apparently had an unbelievable experience, and when he got done, he was like, we need to write about this kid. This kid's incredible, and holy crap, I can't believe what a good time I had. And, from that, this guy took that story and then developed the Van Wilder story.
Yeah.
Which Burt says he's still never seen the movie. But the weird part is they didn't like duplicate his life completely, but they sort of did. Because I watched the movie. They got the scene where his dad comes to visit, and he's like, "You've been here for 6 years, and you still haven't graduated, and what the hell are you doing with your life?" And he had a golf cart that he'd ride around campus, but the thing about it was, they didn't even change the names of his best friends in the movie. They left his same best friends' names. One of them's name's Huicho. I mean, you just can't make that up.
Yeah, that's pretty
this
specific.
guy used his exact friends as his friends in the movie, and that's kind of weird. But he's talked about his people have talked to Ryan Reynolds' people about sitting down together and watching the movie together and doing like a little behind the scenes.
That'd be awesome. I think Ryan Reynolds is cool too.
I think that'd be fun.
He blows it out in Deadpool.
Yeah.
He is awesome.
Yeah. Well, and everything he seems to get involved with, he's just like, you can tell he just wants to have fun with it. And
Absolutely.
he had a passion project for Deadpool, and nobody wanted to green light it. And he was like, "Listen, I want to make it myself. I want it to be what I used to read as a kid." And they were like, "No, you can't do that." And they had a really crappy version with Wolverine where he had the scene at the end. And I loved it. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
Oh, yeah.
With the final credits roll. And
Absolutely.
He's there and he sees the old him and he shoots him. And he goes, "You understand." I was like, "That's great. I love it."
Absolutely. So y'all are going to Charlotte.
Yep.
And you're going to see Chrysler, and you're going to have a couple beers,
I'm going to have a few beers, yep.
and then you're going to come back and get back on your keto jam.
Come back and get a keto, yep.
It's good. What I really did was, there's a book called The 4 Hour Body, right? And
Okay.
it talks about slow carb and good carbs and bad carbs, but what I just kind of modified it. I don't really follow a whole lot of rules, and I've been like that way since I was a child. I kind of just do my own thing and figure things out the way they work. And I've realized that, look, stripping these carbs and taking all this stuff away from your body is great, but it's like when I used to work out and play football, you want to confuse your muscles, right? You want to do a little muscle confusion in there. Mm-hmm. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to confuse the hell out of myself, and I'm going to eat low carb, keto, no carb for 6 days, and then on the 7th day, I'm going to do double cheeseburgers, milkshakes, and get right, and literally for the first year and a half of this lifestyle, because it wasn't just a diet, it was a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So for the first year and a half of this lifestyle, hey man, Saturdays, excluding Sunday, I'd eat right. But on Sundays, we get down, man. Chicken bog and, ice cream. I'm an ice cream freak. I could eat ice cream every night, just get a little milkshake. And so that's what I did. And also gave me something to work towards, man. I said, if I can get through, it might be Friday. And I'm like, man, I really want, you know what? You got Sunday. You can do this. You can get to Sunday, A little bit extra motivation for me. So I enjoy that. I'm glad it's worked out for you. So tell me this, though. Being in San Diego, you were a Hollywood Marine. Is that right?
No, Parris Island.
Parris Island. Okay.
I'm from here. I graduated West Florence in '92, and I didn't join the Marine Corps until '94, the winter of '94.
Well, thank you very much for your service. I appreciate the hell out of that.
I went on the buddy plan. I was supposed to go with a guy that I worked with. He and I become really good, close friends, and we were going to go on the buddy plan. I had decided to go in the Army, but he was like, no, come down here and talk to this Marine. And I was like, I'm not going to the Marines. Well, I had a friend that I was in high school with that went to the Marines, and I saw him after he came out of boot camp, and to me, he looked like a robot.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I don't want that. Because I was sort of an artsy-fartsy kind of kid that I thought of myself as too cool for school, even though I was a dummy. I didn't see myself as a rule follower either. And I had a hard time with people telling me, you can't do this, you can't do that. And in a weird kind of way, I had a stepdad at the time that had been in the Air Force during Vietnam, and I told him I was thinking about joining the Marine Corps, and he goes, you can't do the Marine Corps, you're too soft. And I went, okay, perfect motivation, fuck you.
Absolutely.
So I was like, you know what, I am going to join the Marine Corps, let's do this. And me and my buddy went down to MEPS in Columbia, and I went to boot camp, and I kept looking for him and looking for him and looking for him. He never went.
Oh.
He apparently at MEPS decided, no, I ain't doing this, and
So
backed out.
buddy of one.
Yeah, just me. I had been dating a girl, and we had been separated for several months when I found out that she was pregnant with my first son. And I didn't find out until she was 5 months pregnant. So it was a big shock because I'd already signed up to join the Marine Corps. And not only had I signed up, I told the guy while we were talking, I said, I want to see the world. He says, I can make that happen. And then when I found out I was going to be a dad, I realized I don't necessarily want to see the world anymore. I kind of want to be around for my kid. And I said, is there anything we can do different? And he was like, well, yeah. He said, do you have any special skills? And I was like, I'm out of high school. I've been working full time at the hospital. I mean, no. And he's like, can you type? And I was like, actually, yeah, I can type. He's like, how well? I said, I'm about 65 words a minute. He goes, get out of here. I was like, what? Is that not good? He was like, that's great. I said, well, I took typing in high school because all the pretty girls were in typing class. And he was like, okay, that's perfect motivation. I get it. Totally, He's like, I can see if I can get you some kind of admin thing. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that is. He goes, it's working in an office. And I was like, okay, it's not really what I wanted to do, but, if it means I'm going to be home and see my kid, then that's what I want to do. And so on leaving to go into boot camp, I actually had to take out a $3,000 loan to pay for all of our bills while I was gone. She had my son on November 27th, and I went to boot camp on December 19th. He was 3 weeks old when I left.
Wow.
And the first Sunday I was on Parris Island was Christmas Sunday, and I had a little tiny picture that I had kept with me. And I bawled like a baby Christmas Day, looking at my picture thinking, what the hell did I just do?
Mm-hmm.
I have totally made the wrong decision.
Sacrifice, though.
Yeah, and it was. And looking back later, I realized that it was because of the things that I did along the way. It mattered to a lot of people around me. It made a difference in the way I raised them. It made a difference in the way that my parents, my siblings, and my friends looked at me. So much so that my brother and my sister had both named one of their sons after me. And they talked about the fact that I showed them kind of a pattern of what it means to be a man. And I didn't have really an example to go by growing up. My dad really wasn't around much. He was an over-the-road truck driver. My stepdad was kind of abusive. And I just realized along the way, you get to pick and choose what you want your life to be. So you take the best elements of them and you kind of combine it into who you are. And that was one of the reasons I was thinking, when I found I was going to have a son, I was like, well, I'm going to be in the Marine Corps. Maybe they'll help me learn how to be a man. Mm-hmm. And then I can teach him how to be a man. And so you learn along the way what you're willing to put up with, what you're not willing to put up with, how to achieve things that you don't know how to do, and that you're better as a group than you are individually. And you learn how to follow orders. You learn that, okay, there is a chain of command to things, and if you follow this chain of command, people respect the crap out of that.
Which is what happens in real life.
Yeah. Whether you're in business or whether you're dealing with, the local trash guy that you've got a problem with. You work chain of command, and people respect that, and they respond.
Absolutely.
And, in the process, you treat people with respect, but you also kind of know, because of your training and because of what you've been through, that you're not really afraid of anything.
The Mattis quote, that takes us back to the Mattis quote.
Yeah.
Mad Dog Mattis, he says, was it be kind to everyone but have a plan to kill them?
Yeah.
What is that? Something
be
like that?
Be kind and polite to everyone you meet, but be fully prepared to kill them.
Absolutely.
And which is interesting because he took over the Marine Corps during a time when we were at war, and, up to that point, it was always, first shot for, one shot, one kill, efficiency in killing, and every man a rifleman and stuff like that. The different services all have like jobs, but the Marine Corps' number one job is to kill the enemy before they kill you. And he came in during a time where we were trying to leverage peace, quote unquote peace, in an area where we were at war. And he was like, listen, we can't go in and kill everybody. We're just going to create more enemies. Mm-hmm. So he had to kind of bridge that gap to soldiers who are nonstop being barked at by their superiors of, you got to kill the enemy, into we're going to have an occupational war, and we just can't kill everybody. And you need to bridge that conversation.
There's life after war.
Yeah, you need to learn to have a conversation with these people, and you need to learn to build community, and you're doing it in an area where people want to kill you because you've done some bad things, or your people have done some bad things, And it was a hard task to take on, but Mateus was the perfect person to do it. He was the perfect leader to do it because he was like, listen, I'm not going to mince words. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to know. And it's an efficiency. People sometimes say that, my wife will get on to me sometimes. She's like, you are so rude sometimes. I'm like, no, I'm efficient. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you exactly what I want to say. Yeah, I want to say it. And I'm sorry if it pisses people off, but that's the real life. They're going to come into contact with people like that. Last night I was watching Gabriel Iglesias. He's got a new special on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's so good. But he talks about how he has an argument with his son that's not really his son. He raised this guy as his son, this kid. And they were having a discussion about how, his kid needs to get a job. He's 19 years old. He's been out of high school and he's to get a job. And they're literally at a Red Lobster, and this manager comes over and is talking to him, and he's like, you got a job for this guy? And he's like, I can get him a job. All he's got to do is go online and apply and call me, and I'll make sure it happens. And he goes, here you go. And he's like, I don't want to work at a Lobster. And he's like, are you kidding me? And his wife, he said, I got loud with him. He said, and my wife got on to me. And he's like, no, we don't have this conversation. If I can't get loud with him, then he can't deal with the problems that are going to come at him as a man in this world.
Absolutely.
And that's happened a lot with a lot of people, a lot of kids today. As you see a lot of them very introverted. They'll be on their phone nonstop.
I hate it.
And they don't know how to carry on a conversation. They don't know how to deal with adversity. And we see that right now in social media when confronted in person, a lot of them break down and they cry or they freak out. And it's like, hey, you got to learn to bridge that gap. You got to learn to have that conversation with people because not everybody's like you. And listen, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this, I'm talking to you too. If you know anybody like this, have the tough conversation. Don't be afraid of just, walking around people's feelings.
I don't play that. So I was raised by a Marine, right? I had these dog tags tattooed on the back of my arm. My father was a devil dog, and he was so my dad was a maniac. The Marine Corps turned him into just a nut, But he went to the Marine Corps in the early '70s.
Oh yeah,
when it was just a different kind of place.
Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah, that's why I asked you about the Hollywood Marine, because he always talks about. You mentioned San Diego. He always talks about the Hollywood Marines. And I told him when I was 17 years old, I said, Dad, I'm going to the Marine Corps. He said, boy, they don't want your dumb ass. You stay as far away. So it wasn't like your stepfather saying, I don't know, you might be a little too soft for it. He said, no, you won't make it, son. And I didn't go into the Marine Corps, and I kind of regret that. That's, one of the things I regret most about my life. But I was raised in a home where, man, it was, there wasn't no crime. Mm-hmm. You suck it the hell up. I'll never forget, man, I must have been 7 or 8 years old, and I wasn't even a Boy Scout, I was a Weeblo at the time. In football, my dad saw kids, practicing football across the street. He said, I'm going to sign you up for football. I said, well, I'm not old enough. He said, oh, yes, you are. And he goes in there, forges a birth certificate and tells me I'm quitting the Weeblos and my ass is playing football. And that's what I did. And I played football, throughout, since I was 8 years old until I was 17 years old. And it taught me, discipline, and like your brother was talking about with these kids, molding these kids. That's why I learned how to be a darn man and how to follow through with commitments and how to be somewhere on time when you say you're going to be there, and how not to give up when it's 120 degrees and you're throwing up from running gas
or it's raining and cold.
Oh, dude, yeah.
I don't want it. Well, tough.
Yeah, tough shit. So, but that's the thing. I'll never forget. It was like all-star football practice. I must have been 10, 11 years old, and I made all-stars every year. And this dude. Is Derek Pate from McCall South, squared up and hit me so damn hard. My helmet flies off my head, busted my head open. And this is before people are talking about concussions and CTE. Yeah. And my dad's under my nose with the ammonia, the smelling salts. Like, get up, you got to play, boy. And that's how I was raised, and I love it. So, despite the fact that these kids now, and I use the term millennials, but hell, I don't even know how you classify it. Despite the fact that the future generation or the current generation seems to be soft, and they think that their opinion matters so much more than your opinion, and if you do things your way, it is, despite that fact, I'm raising good kids with morals and that are open-minded, and that are going to respect authority and respect, when adults or law enforcement tell them to do something. My kids are gonna be respectful. My kids are respectful to myself and my wife. My kids have chores. My daughter's 14. She's been working since she was 12 years old in one of my restaurants, and she likes those nice things, the nice Sephora palettes and all that. And she buys it with her own money that she busts her butt working for. And that's the mentality that I'm raising my kids with. And my child, my son might not make straight A's through high school, but he's going to have a social IQ, you know what I'm saying? And he's going to have a work ethic that's going to take him wherever the hell he wants to go in life.
Well, we've as a community, I guess you'd say, we've kind of convinced kids that college is the only way, and it's not. There's way other ways. I make a really good living just busted my ass. And it took a while to get there, but it's done well for me. And there's plenty of pathways out there that don't involve a 4-year college degree.
I took it. I was the Van Wilder of my 2-year technical college. I went to Northeastern Technical College, man, and I think I went there for 4 years on a 2-year degree and still don't have the damn thing. And I rode around with a security guard on his golf cart, having fun. And I mean, it's like a community college with maybe 400 or 500 people, and I'm living like an animal. But I was a wild man back then. But yeah, I mean, you get out of college with $60,000, $80,000 in student loan debt, and you still don't know what the hell you want to do when you grow up. And that debt piles up. Man, one of my best friends, Heath McCollum, he runs Nature's Barber landscaping company here in Florence. He graduated from Clemson University, and he's proud of it. Loves his Tigers, but he says I shouldn't have went to college. He's still paying student loan debt. You know what I'm saying? And the thing that his degree has nothing to do with what he's doing now.
Yeah. And
that just so. My wife and I have had that discussion. We're not. I'm not going to force my children to go to college. We're going to talk about what's going to make them most satisfied in life, and how I can help them to achieve that.
Well, and nowadays, if you follow your passion could turn into money.
Hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's turned into a lot of money, but
no, but it's a living.
I'm making a living doing something I love.
And the way I look at stuff like that is it's a beginning. Because through word of mouth and through being consistent, it can turn into more.
It's going to.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you that it's going to. We have plans on, turning our restaurants into in efficiency, into the most efficient, just most remarkable things around. And I mean, the plan is for in the next 10 years for you to see 50 Revival Burgers all over Southeast.
Cool.
And we believe it's going to. Steve wrote it in his dream journal. That shit's going to happen.
Okay. Well, hey, Steve, keep dreaming up, buddy. You're doing a great job. Y'all, the three of you guys, I mean, y'all have made a great team, and the product you guys are putting out is really great. And if anybody's in Florence or comes to Florence, South Carolina, please check out King Jefe or Tubbs or Revival. You can find them on social media, on Facebook.
We're branding everything under. So we have a corporate. We have a dining group. It's called Downcountry Dining Group.
Okay.
We recently posted all over our social media, Facebook and stuff like that, to subscribe to our YouTube page, right? But I just realized this morning that it was pointed out to us that our logo misspelled dining, so it's DINNING. So we're the Downcountry Denning Group. The Denning Group. It's all over social media. We'll fix that whenever we get around to it. No big deal.
Oops.
Yeah.
That's like me starting a YouTube page with a weird code name, and I went, wait, I want to use my name. Crap, screwed this up. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, hey, we've almost done an hour. We're at 53 minutes now.
I see. I watch these Rogan or listen to these Rogan podcasts. I'm going, these guys talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I could do this for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
A lot of it's just conversation, and a lot of it is. I don't know if you noticed, but he has in not only his friends, which are other comedians, which are entertaining anyway. He'll have in jiu-jitsu guys and guys from the MMA, but then he'll have in scientists and stuff that he's interested in. And basically, he's just geeking out with listening to somebody talk about something interesting, and he's just like, "Oh, well, what's that about? And tell me about this, and what about this thing I've heard about?" And it's just bouncing back ideas, and it's a conversation, And I think I read somewhere somebody called Joe Rogan the Oprah Winfrey for guys.
He is,
and he is.
Absolutely.
He turns us on to cool stuff. He turns us on to interesting scientists and health plans and podcasts.
Dave Goggins.
David Goggins. Holy crap! Right? That guy can motivate anything. Holy cow! That guy's motivating. I watch his videos and I'm just like, I'm ready to run, baby.
But prior to Rogan, man, I had no idea. And
I didn't know he existed until then.
I've had a lot of fun recently. I've started going back and listening to early Rogan, right? Yeah. 2011 stuff. As a matter of fact, yesterday I listened to his, I think it's episode 137 or something. It's him and Anthony Bourdain. And it is, it's so good.
And they were buddies.
Yeah, it's such a good podcast.
They hung out together. I'm watching Anthony Bourdain's stuff right now that was, I think it's Parts Unknown was his show on CNN.
Yep.
I never watched it when it was on TV, but it's on Netflix now. And I can see how his body has transformed where he was doing jiu-jitsu. He's gotten really thin and muscular, and you can see he has a different level of peace about him that he didn't have before when he was doing the
No Reservations.
Yeah, I mean, in No Reservations, I think think that may have been his first television show, where he was talking about how he was overcoming heroin addiction and cocaine addiction, and had gotten into doing the television series to talk about food. And basically, almost every episode is him visiting somewhere different, some chefs, and then he would do some crazy adventure part of it. And they had tied that into the Travel Channel. Well, this Parts Unknown is literally him just picking places that they don't normally go.
Yeah.
And going, let's put a camera there. I'll go there. Sure, why not? And I guess because of his star power and whatnot, he had the ability to take the camera into those places. And, you look at the fact that he ended up committing suicide, and you watch the show and you think, I can see how this life is a very solitary kind of life. But also, in a weird way, he's connecting with more people than anybody else has.
It's crazy. But I kind of can get that. I see thousands of people a week in our restaurants and stuff like that, and I truly care about every one of them's experience. But at the end of the day, when you kind of go home, I crave solitude.
Yeah.
Like I'm always on the go, and always, man, there's nothing I enjoy more than getting home and cutting the lights out and laying in bed with my wife and watching stand-up comedy on Netflix and not talking to nobody and not having to pick up my phone and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was so unfortunate. And that's just my little small world. I can't imagine the demands and stress and the way he feel, and for whatever reason caused him to do, commit suicide. And I guess post-mortem they said that he was sober. There were no drugs in his body and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I know that's what a lot of people were speculating, man. But you just never know, man. You have no darn clue. And I think when I was listening to the podcast of Rogan, he said he had traveled 240 something days that year. And I imagine. And
he had gotten an invite from Anthony days before he committed suicide of, hey, I'm going to be in Paris. Why don't you come out and hang out? And he was like, I'm busy with this and I can't because I got my daughter's thing. And he's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Wow.
And he says, because they were close friends, he says, I'm still kicking myself in the ass. So why don't you just get on the stupid plane?
Yeah.
But he's like, if I'd have known, he said, I would have dropped everything. He said, but I didn't know. And he said, that's the funny thing about that is oftentimes people don't talk about what they're going through. And for what you would see on the screen of a guy who seems like he's really social and hangs out with a lot of people, he had a couple episodes that were pretty dark where he talked about, at the end of the day, I'm by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not at home, and I'm not with my family, and I don't get to see my wife and my kid, and I'm out here with a bunch of strangers pointing a camera at me, and I'm having these weird conversations with people. And he had a couple episodes where he openly talks about that, and I'm like, God, the writing was, it was right there.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying it, and because of that lifestyle, you hear about comedians that are on the road and they have that same kind of lifestyle. They sort of bond that way. With musicians too, because musicians go through that as well because they're making their money just by traveling.
Yeah.
Nowadays they can't just put out a record and sit at home. They have to be out there in front of people in order to make money.
Yes, sir.
But hopefully things will change. Hopefully people will start having these conversations with each other, and hopefully community will build. And if anybody's going through anything like this, they'll reach out. Because it may be as simple as calling up one of your friends you ain't talked to in a while. It may be as simple as walking next door and saying, hey, neighbor, by the way, I don't think we've ever hung out, but...
Yeah. No, look, life's about connections, man.
Yeah.
It really is, and I'm grateful that I get to do what I do because I've made all kind of amazing connections, and I get to see people smile and enjoy life all day long, and it feeds my soul. And then I get to come home to these 3 beautiful kids I have and my beautiful wife and connect with them. And I even at my loneliest times, man, I'm never alone. I got it made, man, and I'm very fortunate to have that. And Florence is an awesome community, but I know people struggle, man. I know a lot of people struggle with that stuff, and
okay, we can wrap it up here in just a second. I do want to do one thing before you go, before we wrap this up. I want to give you an opportunity to kind of tell the listeners where they can find you and where they can find your businesses on
awesome.
social media.
So definitely check out King Jefe, and you can check us out. You can like us on Facebook, tune into our Instagram for King Jefe, Tub Shrimp and Fish Company, and Revival Burger. I think I handle most of the social media for these businesses. It's not not paying somebody to do it. Like it's me doing it. Me and my partners and stuff, and I think our content is unique. We keep it lighthearted, we keep it fun. I eat like Carolina Reapers and stuff like that, and we travel around but what you'll really see and what I hope comes through the most is, that we are truly passionate about, what we're serving and to whom. We're passionate about our customers. We're passionate about the food we serve, and we're going to do it our way. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, go to YouTube. That's the big thing we're trying to push now. Check out Downcountry Dining, not Downcountry Denning. That's somebody totally different. Downcountry Dining on YouTube, and subscribe to that page. And we're going to start pushing out a lot of new content and just showing y'all, the passion behind the scenes is kind of what we're going for. And we're going to have more in the future. We're working real hard on growing this business. I think we have 70 to 80 employees right now, so that's a big responsibility there. And I want everybody to eat, man. I want everybody to be able to benefit from the hard work that we're putting in. So hopefully you'll see thousands of these damn places one day. Who knows, man?
Yeah, you never know. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming and doing this, and you're welcome to come anytime and hang out. Like I said, I'm doing this crap out of my house. I can show you how to do it in your place, and then
I'm really interested.
We can grow up from there. I mean, there's no limit. But everybody listening, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching on YouTube, and if you want to watch YouTube to see what Kyle looks like, you're like, oh, he got a cool voice. Let me see what he's. Check out the YouTube. But yeah, definitely check out his social media and
come eat. That's the big thing. Come eat.
Yeah.
Come to Tubbs, Jefe, Revival Burger. We'll take care of you. Come talk to us. We'll be there.
We have Uber in Florence now, so if you want to drink, you're good to go.
We do have Uber. However, I was told that one of the Uber drivers, somebody went to go to Jefe the other day in an Uber, and the guy said that they didn't want to go there. He wanted to take them to another restaurant in town. So whatever Uber driver out there that's bad mouthing us, I'm going to start recommending Lyft, you butthole. And sorry if I digress a lot. I tend to ramble, man. My mind's just like all over the place all the time.
Hey, this is literally called Stuff You Heard. So
but I've enjoyed this. Yeah. Thank you for doing this.
We can do this anytime, man. Like I said, I enjoyed this. We can definitely do this anytime.
All right.
Everybody out there listening, please rate, subscribe, review, and tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and be part of the change. If you want to be on the podcast, let me know. I just figured out that my Twitter is podcast @podcast stuff. I don't know how that came up, but I thought I had secured the stuff I heard, but apparently that's some dude out west. But anyway, podcast stuff on Twitter. I don't look at it much, but if you want to send me something, I can link it on here. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for listening.
Happy birthday, Ganda.
Bye, y'all. I'm going to hit stop there, and hit stop on this.
That was cool, man.
Yeah, that's easy.
I hope I didn't talk over you.